everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the B&E podcast. I'm Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by Evan. And this is a pretty special episode because this is our first episode where we will be having a guest, and that guest is none other than Mr. Hoyle.
Oh, guys, it's great to see you after all this months in quarantine. I actually kind of did a little shave for you. I'm not doing a full haircut, but
No, it looks good. It looks great.
Fine.
It's been a while.
I mean,
How's everything
Bryce's
going?
haircut looks worse.
Yeah, that's bad. My mom did that. It's bad. Wait, so how's everything? How's the family?
Oh, man. Everything is good, man. We were finally able to go outside, enjoy some good weather. I'm going to get that grill started,
That's good. It's much needed.
Yeah, much
Definitely.
needed. I've been in the house locked up for the last 3 months with everyone else, so
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Well,
So for those who don't know,
I
Mr.
added
Hoyle
the
is
COVID-19.
yeah. So
You gotta name
for-
it.
Just a little background for people who don't know. Like I said, Hoyle was our history teacher in high school, and he's still a teacher. So he's very well now. He's very smart about sports and basketball. He's a huge Knicks fan. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But we first we wanted to start with
gotta talk The Last Dance. The huge 10-part documentary. If you're watching this, I'm 150% sure you've seen it, or at least clips of
Most
it,
people.
because I think it was all over social media every Sunday night. I mean, I'd sit downstairs and would watch it with my parents. Except
I think I've watched each episode at least 3 or 4 times a piece already.
Really?
Oh,
And
God, yeah.
I think that if watching it, it depends who you are of how many times you watch it. For me, I thought once was enough, but that's
He's
just
a Bulls
because I'm a
fan.
Bulls
That's-
fan.
He already knew everything.
So, it was interesting hearing the inside stories, but it was nothing completely new.
Oh, nothing new at all. Growing up, I read all the Rare Air, all the Jordan books. They were autobiographies. So as far as the information, I kind of knew it. But seeing it and just kind of the time period, it took me back to a good time. And it's actually funny. I actually did have COVID for a couple of weeks. I was battling it. So
you had it?
yeah, I had
Wow.
it for a couple of weeks. So it was during episodes 3 and 4, that night, I was in bed miserable, and I'm watching this thing, and it's bringing me back to life. It was enough to get me to sit up out of my bed. And I was I remember watching that game live, and all the feelings that were coming with it. And then to kind of see the backstory kind of helps. Mike was never a guy that spoke a lot, or if you did, it was definitely something that was controlled by the media. So to kind of even hear some glimpses and to kind of see his eyes when he would speak, it was something different,
So,
Yeah.
and since you're talking about speaking, one of the most interesting things is that Kendrick Perkins of ESPN said that he's glad MJ's not his GOAT, and it's LeBron is, and Jordan lied. What do you think about that? Now seeing it, 20, 30 years, 20 years later, I
had to open with that, Evan.
Of course, I'm
Had
going to
to.
open with that. You always open with the hard questions. What do you think about that? Did The Last Dance make MJ look like a superhero or a villain?
It made him look like MJ. That was
Yeah.
him. There was no surprises here. That was the guy, and that was part of why we view him as the GOAT, honestly. It was that exterior. He wasn't a Mr. Softy. LeBron, I'm not going to knock him. He's everyone's pal, and that's his thing,
Yeah.
Jordan, that he was different. He was the guy that you feared when you went into the arena, not the guy you want to exchange jerseys with, So, and he was still friends with a lot of the guys too. I don't even want that's kind of a misnomer. He was friends with Ewing and Barkley and all those guys, but it was different,
When they got on the court, that's what separated him
Exactly.
for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing that I remembered the most was I loved Mike growing up, but I rooted against him. I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to lose every big game,
Mhm.
with the exception of Indiana and stuff like that. But I wanted him to lose. So watching when he would get right to that point, and you were he's got it, he's lost, wrap it up, and then you would see him come through again and again. And that's why he's my GOAT. And again, we can talk about what he did the first 6-7 years of his career, but guys, does that really count? No. Once he became Mike, he was Mike, and it was that till the last shot.
Mm-hmm.
But
And I'm not going
LeBron
to count
fans,
the Wizard stuff. Once he
Yeah, well, that doesn't
overcame
count.
the hurdle and he beat the Lakers, it's over, man. You knew who he was. The guy left, came back, did the same thing again, only better. And you're
Or
just
number 45 and then changed to 23.
yeah, you're
a
just
night later.
Like, this is just who he is, and he had the power to do it. And it was just a different feel. Like, I'm not saying, like, LeBron isn't awesome, but,
Yeah.
like there was never a debate. You know how, like, we always have, like, first take debates every year, like, is he the GOAT? Like, there was no debate when Mike played. Like, when he played, you knew it was a universal consensus, whether you loved him, hated him, every little thing in between. It was, that's the marker. Like, he's the new gold standard. So when you look at, like, who the next GOAT's going to be, Mike is the ruler. Like, you're going to first go 6 titles, and then you'll look at all the other stuff that kind of comes with it. But, like, I don't know. Like, when LeBron retires in a couple of years, and I'm not looking forward to that. I love him.
Yeah.
The next person to come up is going to be compared to Michael Jordan. And it's just like this gut instinct that I have.
Yeah.
Like, it was the way that it was with Kobe. It was like, is he the next Mike?
And then
LeBron,
when he retired, then it was
the
LeBron.
next Mike. And I just have this feeling that, like, when LeBron retires, like, we're not going to hear, is this the next LeBron? It's going to be, is this the next Mike? And it's going to be like that until someone kind of has that decade where they're the man. Like, he dominated an entire decade. No one else got rings. It was his.
Personally,
Well, I think the reason
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be someone to dominate and get 6 rings in one decade.
No.
You didn't see it coming when the Bulls did it.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a Tiger Woods deal. Like, it's kind of like, as much as, and that's part of why, again, we'll change sports. Like, Tiger Woods is the GOAT, right? Or he's like the modern day GOAT. And the bar is high for a reason. Like, you're not going to get replaced in 20 years. It might take 40 years to replace you. Like, Babe Ruth is not getting replaced anytime soon. Like, he's the GOAT because he was so far ahead of everyone else as far as the fame, the skill, but the aura that kind of comes with it too. Like, Muhammad Ali, he's the greatest. Like, no one's challenging that. It's been 50 years since he was the greatest, but he's the greatest. Like, that's the standard. That's the benchmark.
Well, I think the reason why the MJ LeBron debate is so potent is because before them, there wasn't any singular player who dominated over a certain period of time. You know, there was Russell and Chamberlain, there was Magic and Bird. There wasn't ever just one guy who dominated the league. And then when Jordan came in, that's why he was really considered the GOAT. And then you didn't see that again until LeBron. Even though LeBron's 3-6 in the finals, he's still considered he's a dominant player. He's a dominant force. He's that transcendent type of personality and player who goes out on the court. You go to games when LeBron is playing because you want to see LeBron. It's not because you want to see the Lakers. Yes, AD is a big part of that. He's a great talent too, but you go to games to see LeBron. You went to games to see Jordan. It's like that because the two of them are just individual superstars in their eras.
I think for basketball fans, LeBron is comparable to Mike.
Yeah.
Where Mike is the difference maker is he was like that to my grandmother. My grandmother, she's still alive, thank God. She might have heard of LeBron James, like if she sees him on like TV, like Michael Strahan and Kelly or whatever when that was a show. Like, all right, that's LeBron, you know? But Michael Jordan was known like by everyone. Like, and he's still the most famous basketball player. Like, his shoes are still the most famous shoes. Like, when they talk about like I don't know how many people are running out for the latest LeBrons. Like, whereas Jordan is still re-releasing the same sneaker every year.
30 years ago.
And it works. It sells out and it works. And that's what I mean. Like, it's the aura that comes with it that, like, until someone else has a jump man. Does LeBron have a jump man?
He has a logo.
He has a logo, but like
a lot of
it's
players
not the same.
No, a lot of players today have the logo. Like even like Derrick Rose has a logo. I could name like 10 probably, but for time I'm not going to.
You see that jump man?
Everyone has logos, but just because you see the logo doesn't mean you could just recognize it.
Yeah.
Snap. Like if you see the jump man, you're like Jordan. Like you put like 2 symbols in front of like a 5-year-old, say which is Jordan, like this one or the LeBron James logo. They're gonna point to the Jordan logo.
It's just
much more recognized.
It's universal. What it is. It's what it is. And I don't know, and it's not even years. Like you knew that about Michael Jordan when he was 28 years old. Like it was like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And even though there were other players with bigger numbers, because Wilt Chamberlain. I get for you guys, it seems like forever ago. For the older generation, they saw him play. they saw Russell.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like it's that far removed, but like so they saw the numbers, but this guy was different. When it's just kind of like a feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when Bobby Knight saw him at 20 years old, he says, "That's the best basketball player I've ever seen." Like anyone who knows Bobby Knight, especially then in the prime of peak Bobby Knight, I wasn't going to say that about a 20-year-old kid. There was nothing. But for some reason, he sees this kid and he's like, oh, this is different. Like, and when you saw Michael Jordan, like, I remember the first time I ever watched him play and he jumped. And you're like, he didn't land. And you're like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like, LeBron is fantastic, but you have Kevin Durant. And you have these other guys who are like, they're spectacular.
But LeBron is not 3 steps ahead like Mike was.
Yeah. Like Mike was, he lapped them.
Mm-hmm.
Like he lapped other Hall of Famers. Like whereas LeBron, like they shared. Like Steph got 3 rings. Like KD got some rings. Like, like Kawhi got some rings. Like if you look at the way the guys from the 90s talk about Mike, like there's like a hate in their voice. They're just like, I can't believe like we never got him. We were so close.
And even Barkley said in the doc, he's like, there's no shame in losing to Michael Jordan. There's no shame. Because he's just the best. He's got the most drive to win. When he wins, it's like, Jordan got me again.
Got me again.
That happened to the Jazz. That happened to the the Suns. That happened to the Supersonics, the Lakers. It kept happening, and then everyone had that consensus.
The best part from Last Dance, I don't know how many people like noticed it, but it was like after the Game 7 against the Pacers, when he met with Larry Bird and like the back.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
great. Like that was it. You could see it on Larry Bird's face. It was just like, mother again. Like
you
can't beat this guy. Like as a Knicks fan, he did it about 3 times. There were like 2 or 3 times when you think you got him, and then he rips your soul out. And then like even like during the games, I remember people saying like, "Don't cheer too loud." Like, could you imagine that? Like if you hit like a big shot and you're at home and you're next to the person, you're like, please don't yell too loud, because if he hears you cheering, he's gonna come back and he's gonna beat you.
He's gonna be like, you yelled at me and I took it personal.
Like,
and this is what happened, and you lost by 20.
You hit a big shot against like LeBron, like you're celebrating. Like that Mario Hezonja thing doesn't happen to Michael Jordan. Like you just don't do that. So like that's why I think like it's a GOAT thing. Like he's gonna have the numbers. He'll have a lot of like accolades. Like LeBron is a top 5, 10 player in the history of basketball. He's gonna have every accolade that you can compare in the world. But like, did he have that? I don't think so. Like, and no one goes in, you're like, oh God, I'm so afraid of LeBron James. Like, he's been beaten. And like, when you have him down and it's over, he usually gives up. Like, if you kind of look at like certain series along the way, whether it was all the way back before he won, when it was like against Orlando, and he kind of just like took the jersey off and walked off, or even like after he won titles, like versus the Spurs, like against the last year against the Heat. And you just say, he's checked out. He doesn't want this. And even like when Ray Allen hit that shot, like you could see LeBron was done. Like if Ray Allen hadn't hit that shot, it's over. Like Ray Allen kind of gave him the energy to get through and take over that next game. But like Mike, you would have to rip his soul out to beat him. Like you didn't beat him.
You would have to put him on the bench to beat him. And you weren't putting Michael Jordan on the bench.
Yeah, like you wouldn't see him like shrugging his shoulders or slumping down like it's over. Like that move that he did with J.R. Smith, like where he's like this, like no, like Mike would have like gone over and he might have punched him.
Yeah,
like, but like it wouldn't.
I don't think in the game, but in the locker room there would have been a lot more.
I never saw Mike look like defeated. Ever. Like even when he was losing, you saw him and you're like, okay, I can respect that. Like he went out
he always gave it his all.
Yeah.
He never looked like he was done.
Yeah.
In any sort of competition. He's just the greatest competitor of all time.
I think that's
in
why
any sport.
90s basketball is so much better than basketball today. For me personally,
don't get
I'd
me
rather
started.
see
Don't.
No, you won't. This is totally a conversation for another time. But like, I'd rather see that competitiveness where no one wants to quit, even though like it's Michael. People are still staying in the game. If you go to that today, and people are like, someone's down by 30 points, it's they don't care anymore.
This is the difference. Like, and we'll make this one for like a segue for next show. Like, you didn't have half the league tanking and the other half like resting for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, there were some bad games and there were some terrible teams, but like when you walked in as a fan, you knew both teams wanted that game badly. You didn't, and I'm sure that there was tanking on the low, like kind of behind the scenes. Like, I know the Spurs, I'm sorry, the Celtics tried to tank for Tim Duncan, and the Spurs got him. But like, it wasn't as blatant in your face. Like, when we restart, if they were to make the Knicks a playoff team, you're not going to want them to win. You're going to go like, I need them to lose every possible game so that we can get the draft pick of our choosing. Like,
that's why I want them to finish the regular season. I want to have a better spot.
Yeah,
6
I
is
want
not
to lose.
good enough for me.
I
want to get down to 3 too.
Yeah,
but
I
get your point.
It's an insane kind of situation when you look at that. It's like, I don't want to win. Like, I never felt like that when I was younger. Like, even on a bad team, you're like, let's root this one game. We'll cheer for our team. Now we're looking long term down the line. Or are we playing 35 minutes a game too much? Like, 35 minutes a game too much? That's ridiculous. That used to be like, that's the standard. And as a fan, you want to see the best players playing at the best times. And if you buy a ticket for a game in March, you don't want to feel like, is this a waste of money?
You don't want to watch two teams who are tanking take each other on.
Like, could you imagine if they play in like a month and it's like the Knicks versus like the Cavaliers or Warriors? Like,
for like
the Warriors are the best spot. And I doubt Clay is going to come back, even though it's going to be more than a year.
I don't think if I'm the Warriors, I don't come back. You still keep tanking. If the regular season continues, you get the number one overall pick, and then you win for the next 10 years. It's almost like the Patriots, for example. Like, you think they're going to tank, but it's Belichick, so you never know. They get Trevor Lawrence, and then they're going to be dominant for 10 years.
Oh my God.
The best thing the Patriots could do is tank.
I agree. That's another.
They gave their fans 20 years, man. Yeah, they gave their fans 20 years. Give them one bad year.
I don't even want to hear that. That's just.
And then you have Trevor Lawrence until he's 45.
Jet fans are about to like throw up in their mouth if they hear that. Like, they get give them that.
They already have enough to deal with. Being the worst franchise in the past 50 years. So.
But yeah, no, back to The Last Dance. Like, but that's what it did. Like, it brought me back to a time. The soundtrack. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No,
it was everything. It was the sneakers, the soundtrack, like the clothes. Like, man, I felt I was a high school like junior, senior all over.
There was something that everyone everyone watching could relate to.
Definitely.
Which is like, personally, I think it was the best sports documentary ever. But
it's definitely up there. Like, and it's because of what it was. It was Mike. Again, who's the GOAT? It's Mike. That's why.
But don't you think at the end of the day, the doc was a little bit too biased towards Jordan? Like, there was no Jordan slander.
I think it argued with this. No, it's not even it had to be. I argued with this hard. I said, you can't look for something that didn't exist. Like, all they did was kind of show you what was on TV back then. Like, this replayed 20 years of ESPN, right? And it did feel like that. Like, when you were watching them, again, there wasn't these debates where it was like, who's the GOAT? Like, you knew who the GOAT was. Yeah, he had controversy, and they touched on that stuff. Like, they touched on the social issues.
They talked about it.
They touched about like the gambling.
I never thought his dad was going to come up in that form.
So they everything that was a scandal back then, they hit on it.
It was everything you already knew.
Yeah, but like, maybe there isn't much more. Like, when it came to basketball, he didn't lose. Like, so again, once he got to that point, it was like, all right, here's this series. We think he's going to lose. No, he won.
Mm-hmm.
Here's this series he's supposed to win. Yeah, he won that. And again, we're supposed to. And I get Scottie Pippen and the rest of the team, guys. It was Mike. Like,
but the thing was, it wasn't a Jordan documentary.
It wasn't. It was a Bulls documentary.
Yeah, but it was 95% Jordan. It was it was basically Jordan's narration at that point, because it was his interviews that were driving the content that was appearing on the documentary. So it was like, at that point, by the end, I was thinking, I was like, all right, what I watched literally was not just. It wasn't like a 1997, 1998, year in review.
Mm-hmm.
It was like. All right, this is Michael Jordan's career, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about the issues that
Yes.
occurred during the entire Bulls run, because I didn't think that they would be able to put one NBA season, like just one NBA team in that one season in 10 different episodes and like 10 hours of content. That doesn't exist. Like there was hundreds of hours of like footage, but how are you going to use all that? So they had to go back and, explain all the, what led up to everything. And
if I would have done anything
players.
differently, I probably would have focused a little more on like Rodman and Pippen, because again, they're all Hall of Famers. They're all-time greats. Rodman's story is fantastic. I don't know if you ever read his autobiography. It was Bad as I Want to Be. Like I read that like damn near 20 years ago. That book, I was way too young to be reading some of that stuff. I was like, this guy is fantastic. Like he was awesome, man. Like, and if you ever look, like even his like post-playing life, like he coached the North Korean basketball team. Like kind of random like nonsense is that. Like if you would have told me when I was your age that Dennis Rodman would be alive in 2020, I would look at you like you're a bull. Like, there's no shot in hell this guy's alive. But like he's still around. Like, he's a story, man. Like so I would have spent a little more time on him.
Mm-hmm.
I think they covered Pippen well. Like he may have gotten a little more, but like again, like he's known as the best Rodman ever for a reason. He's Rodman. I'm sorry, Robin.
Yeah.
Like he's not Batman. Like there's Batman and there's Robin.
He was the best at his role.
He was the best at his role. Like I'm not good. Like I think a lot of people are putting him a little too high now. I was like, I think he had a good place. Is he a top 50 all-time guy? Yeah. Is he a top 25 all-time guy? I don't think so. I don't want to have that conversation. But yeah, he's securing his top 50, which is not a diss. Like again, like, and Mike is 1, 2. I'll be nice. I'll say 1, 2, even though he's my 1. Like, but like, so yeah, if we're gonna average out in a 10-hour doc, you gotta give the 1 his due.
Plus, like, if you're gonna make the documentary, and a lot of it is what the fans want. Like, no offense, but like it'd be cool to hear about Pippen and Rodman, because they're both interesting in their own way. But if I'm gonna sit there and watch anything, it's gonna be Michael Jordan talking about his '90s team. Like he was that captain. It's like it'd be like listening to a co-captain give a speech. Like, you're gonna listen to it, but you're not
hearing Mike laugh on Gary Payton, dude. Like,
I know, but like that was
great. Like it's great.
I love that. But like he was shut down. Like he would only put up 17 a game during when Peyton played defense on him, and it was kind of slander. Like that's the only reason why I was considering the fact that it was like, all right, it's just a little bit too biased, because like he would laugh at that, So
these are athletes. I'm not sure like how many of them would give that respect. Like I think he gave some. But then, like, Jordan has an ego. Like, we're not saying he's, like, the nicest person on the world. Like, his Hall of Fame speech said it all. Like, being humble is hard for that dude. That's why I, like, when I saw the Kobe, I think we spoke before at the Kobe funeral. And that was the best I had ever seen Michael Jordan in my life. Like, the most human. He's not a human. Like, every other time when you see Jordan, he's, like, this robotic superhero. Like,
He's God disguised.
Exactly. Like whereas like we've seen LeBron's human moment, like Mike, he didn't give us a human moment until Kobe Bryant's funeral.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And just a little context to what Hoyle just said. We actually recorded, like we did a pilot,
unaired pilot that we never ever aired.
No one's seeing it. It was so unprepared. I reached out to Hoyle and I was like, listen, like Kobe just died. Like it was a very upsetting time for any basketball fan.
I tell you like any production value on it. I think there was just zero.
Oh no, there was. It was. I didn't even put it together. It's just there on my phone. So
what? Keep it in the backlog. You never know when you need it. But
we'll put that in a blooper reel one day.
Yeah.
If we ever get big, we can release some unaired footage or unrecorded content that includes one of our biggest guests. If we keep this going along.
Yeah.
And I will say this, like when you saw Kobe speak on Mike, and this is not knowing he's going to be gone. He's going to be passed away months later. and it was so real, and you saw their relationship, it all made sense. Like, I didn't know their relationship was like that. And you saw the way Mike talked about him. He gave respect when respect was due.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was like a
Okay.
mutual, like, yeah, this kid can play. Like, I'm not gonna even, nope. Like, this kid is on my plane of, and it's because he cared. And I think LeBron gets that too, but there's probably a part of Mike that looks at LeBron and is like, if I had your physical gifts, what would be?
Oh my God, yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
like there's
Definitely.
got to be a part, because Kobe literally gave every blood, sweat, and tear. I don't know if that LeBron has done that.
And it also took MJ so long to build actually the physique to be able to keep it up and win.
LeBron's always had it.
Once
He's always been like
baseball,
LeBron
but
is special, man. Like,
that's been like
we
LeBron
can't knock
since he was
that.
15. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like there was one time when I thought LeBron was equal to Jordan. So I will say that he's the only guy that when he was on his high was equivalent, and that was 2015 finals. LeBron was
Yeah, he was the
wow.
entire team.
He was
Yeah.
wow.
He
And
led
it was
both
the
teams in every
mindset.
stat.
It was everything. But the lows also count when you're making that debate. And I've seen his lows go a lot lower than
2007.
Mike's low. Mike's low never went that low. So if we're gonna average him out, that's my trump card and all those guys. Like, yeah, I've seen LeBron get as high as Mike, but I've never seen Mike get that low.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
not if you're counting, not if you're not counting those Wizards years, but that.
And even then,
no one remembers them at the end.
Yeah, who's counting that? He was like, that was a business decision. I think he was like trying to get. I think he had ownership stake in the Wizards or something, and he's trying. That's I need equity in the business kind of a deal.
And then he bought the Bobcats like
years
later, and everything was fine.
Yeah,
but LeBron's going to do the same.
LeBron will be an owner.
Yeah, LeBron. You could
just
tell by
don't
his
buy
tweets.
The Knicks. If LeBron buys the Knicks, I'm not going to be a happy guy. I'm sorry.
No. Oh my.
That would
he's
gonna
buy like I think he'll buy like Memphis or like one of the lower teams. Like not like
he can have fun with that, but if somehow LeBron James
why not Cleveland?
Because he's not, but he can't buy Cleveland.
I don't think Dan Gilbert would ever do
Agreed.
that. Like I think if Dan Gilbert would have to like have already sold it and been long removed, and because I bet you that's a clause in the sale. Like you can never sell it.
Yeah.
Like
because they had beef for a while.
And
then he ended up coming back. I
see Dolan selling in the next decade. Like I do. Like
he can't put up with it.
I just feel like he's gonna retire soon. Like he's gonna like cash out and have a lot of money. And there will be an opening for someone to get their hands on the Knicks. And if it's LeBron who didn't come here,
I can't.
I will. No.
Well, speaking about the Knicks, let's start talking.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's get into some Knicks news. I read yesterday that the number one candidate for head coach next season is Tom Thibodeau. What do you think about that?
I won't be very upset. Like I won't go on a Twitter tirade, but it's also not like my dream scenario. Like
who would be your dream coach for the Knicks?
Atkinson, right?
I think it is Atkinson.
Yeah.
Because if they're going Atkinson, I think that means that development is the way.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And I think isn't that what we've been wanting forever? We want a team
we've been in
that we develop from
years.
the youth.
Exactly.
I don't want any of these free agents. I'm on record saying I was not part of that KD Kyrie thing. I didn't want it. I didn't think it was good. If you look at what they're doing in Brooklyn, man, if that was us, there would be red flags flying all over the place. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want us to bring up our own guys from babies, and I want to watch that team win a title. Those teams and those fans, they appreciate it more. Like, I don't want a Miami Heat title. I want like something that we brought up. I want a Golden State Warriors dynasty.
Well, the one thing about the Knicks is that we are the biggest market team in the league, where our value is higher than any other franchise. So it's way more likely that we go out of our way to sign someone in the future than to actually home grow all of these prospects, especially when the past 15 years of Knicks history has seen year after year of bad drafts. We haven't had one good pick since probably Patrick Ewing, I'd say. We haven't had one like steal. We haven't gotten any guy.
Porzingis, that's about it.
Porzingis, but he was the fourth pick.
Yeah, no, we haven't had that lucky because even when we got fourth, that was a low. That wasn't something that we were
we had the
wanting
best
to get.
or no, we had the second best odds.
Yeah,
I think you had the best last year.
We dropped. I want to get that number one pick, or I want, if we're supposed to go 6 like this year, let's jump up. Let's go to 2.
I want to draft up.
Let's go higher than we're expected to go for a change.
It's time, and I'm waiting for the day that we value a prospect that highly that we can give up the next few years of assets. Young guys on our team. Get rid of Randall. Get rid of him now. Yeah. But I would be very excited if
I'm ready for a Luka.
Know that.
I want that kid exactly. That we can legitimately get excited.
We need to know that there's a kid in the draft that we need and that we actually put our hand, like we take, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like we need to just take it for us. That's the only way, because we're not going to, there's not going to be a superstar that lands at 6. I mean, yes, there could be, but it's the Knicks. And with our luck, we should definitely trade up, because I know the franchise and the fan base would be very upset if that pick ended up being a bust, but at least we tried. And we cannot say that for the past 25 years. So at the end of the day, if we give up assets to end up getting a bust, like, it is what it is. It's better than nothing.
One of the legacies of being a Knicks fan is that we always have to settle for not what we really wanted, and we big up things that aren't exactly as good as they're supposed to be. Example, like Carmelo. I love Melo, but that was the consolation prize. He's the not what we really wanted, but we made him into what we wanted because we had no choice.
He was the only guy, but he was
even RJ Barrett. Like, we know what we wanted. Like, Zion was the prize. We're gonna put lipstick on a pig, even though I like that pig. Don't get me wrong. I like RJ Barrett, but dude, like, the diamond in that draft was Zion and John Morant. And we're just
of course
outside.
We got 3. Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna get a quality player. But like, no, I want like to have that day. Like, I haven't had a day where like I'm just elated and I can't remember. Like,
I know. Same.
Probably Larry Johnson's 4-point play. Like, that was probably the last time that I was like,
I watch that clip once a month.
Planet Earth. Like, I'm on like Sky 9, like that's the last time. And you guys have never felt that ever. No. And it's wild. You're a grown man now, and you have never got to feel
2016 that. Cubs World Series.
Yeah.
Well, but
that's different.
It's different.
Because
you get it. Like, I see the Cubs in the background. Like, that's your team. But like,
not winning in 109 years. So
106, and now it's 4 years.
It's all relative. I think if the Cubs would have won 40 years ago, the Knick happiness, the Cub happiness, like, it can't get that much happier. Like, I could only imagine if the Knicks were to win a title, the tears from like grown men aged like 30 to like 60. I don't know if you guys are prepared for that. Like, the Eagles championship was actually kind of close. You saw like grown men like in the streets, but like the Knicks,
it's so much different.
I already know I'm crying. Like, I cry just thinking about it. Like,
I'm only 19 and my family has seen the rest of, Knicks history because, my family's had, season tickets for years. So I know what it's like to lose year after year. And quite frankly, I don't see a championship in another 10 years. I just don't see it. Like,
I don't see a championship for the Knicks until Dolan leaves.
Exactly.
I don't think he can.
Whenever that happens,
confident. I kind of like the direction they've been going the last like 2.
You like Leon Rose?
I've really liked Leon Rose so far. I think he's been methodical in his approach. But even in general, like, I've judged a team by like your big swings, and the Knicks haven't made a big swing in a couple of years. So it's like they haven't maxed out anyone. They haven't made a huge trade where they're emptying out the war chest. Like, once they do that, then they're on the clock. So right now, it's like they're acquiring their asset. I think the last real big one was Melo?
Exactly.
And they gave that the run. It didn't work. And now we're kind of waiting in the weeds, like, keep drafting these kids. And eventually you're hoping either one of them becomes that or the next big thing decides to come over. But like, I don't want to spend $170 million on a guy that I don't think is good enough. Like, I still think this summer was the right move. It was sucky to be like teased for a year and then like clowned on by the media, but like if it turns,
that's not our fault.
It's not, and
Like
we can't make that our fault.
We
if
get
it
a lot
turns
of
into a number one
yeah.
pick, if it turns into like next year, Giannis is like, actually, I do want to go there, and we didn't spend that money. Could you imagine if we had Tobias Harris and like some other guy, and Giannis is like, I want to be a Knick, and we can't shed those contracts?
Yeah, that would be
cry. Rough. And we've been there. Like when Chris Paul wanted to come, we had spent the money on Tyson Chandler. And you look and you're like, we used the amnesty on a guy that had 1 year left on his deal. Whoa. Like that's why when people say if they have an amnesty after COVID, do you amnesty Randall? And I'm like, fall back. Like it's only a year. We're probably going to be bad. If the worst case scenario,
you trade him. He's got to go.
And even if like I don't,
you shop him to any team.
I don't like him, but let's say we get stuck with him, right? We're going to be stuck with him on a shortened COVID season. What's the word? That's the best case scenario you could probably get. Yeah. There won't even be fans in the arena for that last year of that contract. So you know what?
Still, like I think
whoever the draft pick is grow. Let Randall do what he does. Hopefully he's coming off the bench. And after that, you let him walk and you can wipe your hands with all your assets. But like if someone is trying to take a first rounder to trade for Randall, I don't want to do that. Like
you wouldn't I'm
not giving up. I'm not giving up assets because Randall's
what
not
if we got
bad.
a first rounder? What if they gave a first rounder?
Yeah,
that's what I thought you were saying. I'd take that in a second.
Pack your bags and get out.
Yeah,
like,
get out
I'm
of
talking
New York.
like if the deal makes sense, cool.
I don't care.
Like if we can get two bench shooters for Randall, I'll take it. But like the one thing about that is I don't want to give up an asset for a guy with 1 year left because that's constantly the way the Knicks operate. Like they make a mistake, like Joakim Noah. We'll stretch your contract and buy you out, and then we're still paying this dude. And I'm like we hire a coach, we fire him 18 months later. Like how many guys are on payroll?
Yeah.
Like how many guys? Like I am not. No. Like let these guys run their course. If they're bad, they're bad. Like the team is pretty decent. They don't have these salaries really weighing them.
I mean, we're a bottom 5 team.
Bottom 5. But guess what? That was our goal too. Like we had to reassess. Like we wanted to be.
We've been like that for 5 seasons.
No,
now.
we were like morbidly bad. All I wanted this year was to be competitively, not embarrassingly bad, and I think they achieved that. Like they weren't like last year and the year before were like. I don't know how I'm watching this. At least
I mean the year before Porzingis was the worst though. We won less than 20 games.
Yeah, but we did 17 wins for RJ.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
It's bad.
You can't say that in a way. That's a brutal season. Like at least this year there were only about 10 games where I was like, "Oh, this is awful." The rest of them I was able to get through it. Like and trust me, that's growth. Like and Mike Miller did
him
adamant job.
I'd love to keep him on. That's like
if he's the assistant coach.
Let him run the offense. I don't understand. Thibodeau was a defensive coach. Let him coach the defense. Like why can't it be like an NFL type of thing?
I like it. Other teams do it.
Yeah, but we tried that with Kurt Rambis running the defense.
Wrong guy. Like like if we're gonna do it, like
good idea, wrong guy. But that was rough. But so listen, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Man.
So much fun.
It was great talking to you. You're the best when it comes to Knicks news. I could talk to you about any sport. So
see, I don't actually have to BS random information that I don't know. It's perfect. I just sit here and listen.
Exactly.
That's good, man. I love you guys.
All right. Thank you for coming on.
Have a good one. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And stay
safe.
Thank you. That was absolutely awesome. Such a great time having him on. Now let's get into a different sport. Let's shift away from basketball. Let's go to baseball. There's a lot to talk about with this, and baseball isn't even playing yet. Nope. So, Bryce, take us through a little bit of what's going on with baseball right now.
So, as it always is with just baseball in general, there are issues going on between the players and the owners, and this is just history repeats itself again and again with baseball Baseball's been around for 120, 130 years. It's longer than any other sport. And you think by now they'd have gotten it down when it comes to figuring out, collective bargaining agreements. And this isn't even a collective bargaining.
It's
not even
how
a
much
CBA.
we're going to pay you.
And it's like, and they knew that this was going to be bad, and baseball was supposed to return in like under 2 weeks, and they still don't have a deal.
Nope.
And what's going on right now is everything is getting leaked to guys like Jeff Passan, John Heyman, and it's coming from the owners, because the owners are trying to make the players out to be the bad person. And at the end of the day, and I think this is one place where me and Evan can agree on, that it's both sides, is they need to just come together. They're missing like a
they're wasting
amount of
valuable time.
Exactly. If they get back before any other sport, literally, and the thing is their sport doesn't require any physical, like there's no like contact. Literally no physical contact. You throw a baseball, you can easily disinfect.
The closest contact you come in. I think it's the second least contactive sport. I would probably say golf is the most.
Golf. And that's why golf is going to come back.
Baseball, tennis, and then hockey. But we'll get into hockey in a minute. But for baseball, you're having these issues where the owners don't know how to play the players. And quite frankly, guys like Blake Snell don't want to play for $7 million, which is insanely arrogant in my opinion. Like, some people in their life will never make $7 million, and you're crying about $7 million. Hopefully, in my life, I make $1 million. I don't know, but
if they don't even agree on anything, they're not going to make anything. There's not going to be a season.
So right now, it's almost better off without a season. I almost think it's better off without a season.
No. I think they
hear me out though. Hear me out.
They wouldn't be able to come back from this.
Easily. Ken, are you kidding? You know how much?
I'm saying popularity.
I disagree.
I'm just saying throughout the past 5 to 6 to 10 years, baseball has seen a very large decrease.
Well, yeah, that's why we call it America.
And average viewers. It's already so like it's not entertaining at all. So for a lot of people, for a lot of this younger generation, but if they came back right now, like they're missing time that like you can. Like I said before, you could be exposed to so many new people, and like I'm not the only reason I said. Like it won't return. They're going to return. If baseball doesn't happen, they're going to return. But I'm saying they're going to lose so many fans that are going to be angry at both sides because they couldn't come to an agreement for the better of the fans and just all of any sports fan, any baseball fan.
I think any sports fan in general. People need sports. We need something to talk about. And, sports is an industry where if nothing's happening, you have nothing to talk about. Luckily for us, The Last Dance was going on, so we were able to talk about The Last Dance.
Yeah.
However, like with baseball, with hockey, with you can make an argument a little bit for golf, but not really because of the
it's not a team
match,
sport.
And it's not a team sport. Like you can't talk about it if nothing's going on, and that just hurts the industry and it hurts the media, and it just hurts everyone. And the fact that players are complaining that, oh my God, like Blake Snell's complaining that I'm going to get coronavirus because if I go out and pitch. First of all, you're not getting coronavirus if you go out and pitch. There's a very small percentage that you do. Second of all, you make 30. He probably makes about 15, 20 million, and he's complaining about making $4 million. Congrats. Your house probably costs $4 million. Like, pay your rent. That's all. How many people would be buying for $4 million? If they said to me, here's $4 million, you can go out and risk your life playing baseball, which is a game that you love, I would see it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would do it in a heartbeat. But these guys are being like, it's the players and it's the owners. It's the owners for not compromising better, but it's the players some of them who are being snobby. Like, the season should happen. They should just set everything. It's a player's choice whether or not to play. And personally, if you're a baseball player, get off your ass.
And
go play. It's not right.
To be fair, it's both sides' fault. But the latest proposal that the owners gave the MLBPA is the worst proposal. Like, I understand, the players are stubborn. They're greedy. They want money. You have to be willing to sacrifice something in order to have this season played because the players aren't going to budge. They gave them all right. So for someone making $30 million under the MLBPA's or under the owners, proposal, the latest one, they'd be making under $7 million.
Mhm.
That's less than 1/4 of their actual salary. And I understand that baseball is going to be losing a lot of revenue because a lot of it comes from stadium sales and,
Mhm.
and ticket sales. So
Foods and
everything
Yep.
that fans can't do right now. So they're going to lose that entire aspect. The only way that they're going to be making money is off television, is off TV views, and the fact that
jersey sales and
the
online
owners need to be
shopping.
able to say, like stuff, everything online, anything that could be done like virtually. So
I agree with you on that
the
front.
owners need to budge.
Yeah.
They need to budge, or else there's going to be no season.
Or
And
we're gonna
because
be
the
we're
players are
gonna
not
be
going
on
to
a
do anything.
lockout for the year. And
Yeah.
honestly, if it gets to end of June, end of July, and we're still nothing's changed,
Let's
maybe
not
it's
have
better
it.
off without a season. Maybe. And then, well, football will
It's better
start
off.
3
It's
weeks
better
later.
off for
So.
the own. It's not better off for the owners. They don't
Yeah.
understand that they're just not going to make, like, they're going to lose money anyway. So if they sacrifice more of their, I guess, like, funds to help out with this baseball season happening, they're going to be losing much less money than they would be if, a season just, God forbid, never happened.
But for now, we don't really know what's going on there. All we're kind of is
developing each
sitting
day.
ducks and waiting, developing each day. Another thing that just developed yesterday was hockey officially announced
Good for them.
its plan to come back. Yeah, it's
for them.
it's going to be great for all sports fans, I think, even non-hockey fans. Even though,
I still won't watch.
Their format is a little weird. 4 teams, round robin, play-in matches. It's 12 teams in the playoffs. It's probably a little too much, but at least it's something. At least it's a step in the right direction for sports to come back.
Yeah, at least one of the, at least one of the sports actually.
One of like our major 4 or 5. And they're doing it the right way. But, the hockey playoffs wouldn't start, I think, till July 1 at the earliest. And by then, the season starts in September. I just personally, like, even for the NBA, I don't think there should be seasons. I just think it's pointless at this point.
Nah, they'd be losing a lot of money. Like, if you look up financially,
but they're already losing a lot of money. I get that it's more money, but
it's a lot more money.
Prepare for the next year, because next year they'll be back fully in swing.
You still don't know though. What about the second wave? What if the NBA sacrifices this entire season just to start their training camps in October for December 25th, Christmas Day start? Let's just say hypothetically next year, and then in November there's a second wave, and the season has to get pushed back an extra month, then another month, then another month, and now you don't have 2 seasons.
And then they go on lockout. All right, so I see your point there, but
that's why you got to prepare for the worst.
It's all
you have to have a season.
It's all what if, and you have to go forward and say that you're going to finish the season because you need to make the money, because that's what all sports are about at the end of the day. It's about making money, and if
there's
that's all it is.
A finals, if there's a Stanley Cup finals, if there's if there's a World Series that ends up happening this year, that's gonna generate a lot of revenue and viewership, and because people are gonna want to watch what's on, because after so long of not having live sports, people are gonna be clamoring to watch anything. So
I think we're
make money,
like people are watching marble racing and UFC fighting. I mean, MMA and UFC is huge. Yeah. And that's probably what we're going to be talking about next week, but we'll leave that as a little tease right now.
Yeah.
But that's just, people just need sports. We need something to watch. Sports drives us. Like, sports is a huge thing in our society. It's what, so many people love and grow up doing. So without it, everyone's lost.
Exactly. Especially for us, as a mainly sports podcast, it's rough.
It's been a long couple of weeks, but thank you all for joining in.
A long couple months.
Couple weeks. I'm like losing my mind
few
right
months
now.
At this point.
Like
everyone is.
Everyone's losing their mind, but
yeah.
Thank you so much to everyone who watched. This is officially the second episode, the ending of the second episode of the B&E podcast. For Bryce Gelman, I'm Evan Kamiko. Thank you again to Jason Hoyle, who was on earlier today. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media. We're probably on it. TikTok might be coming soon.
Please.
We don't know. Follow us, like, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.